Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast, episode 10. This is the 10X episode. Got my 10X shirt on. Will and I came back from GrowthCon not that long ago. If you guys listen to this, you're going to figure out that we record these in advance. So by the time this comes out, GrowthCon will probably have been about 2.5 months ago. But Will and I are still hyped. So just want to let you know, I'm your host, Sam Popple. This is my partner, William McClellan. Hey, Will, how's it going?
Dude, all is well. Super excited for this one. Just a lot of really great takeaways that we had from the conference. Sam and I went together.
This was Will's first GrowthCon, so it's my third, and Will's first. Like, Will, what'd you think about the speaker lineup?
Yeah, speaker lineup was just insanity. It was insane. We're going to kind of roll through these on some key highlight points that we had with everyone, kind of roping you guys in like you guys were there. It was incredible. But outside of that, just within your own business, I can't recommend enough about, self-education, but also going with your partners, like going to conferences, doing things to grow together. This was the first time Sam and I did that. And not only are we growing as business partners, but, friendships and things outside and the people we meet and seeing how, one another, react and network, and then growing our network, which is something we kind of are always talking about on every episode, and being surrounded by thousands of other like-minded individuals and, hundreds, if not thousands of other people that are doing things similar to us it was just a really great week. So.
Oh, definitely. And the cool thing too, I think, for us both, as far as the other people got to be around and even just being around each other, is like-minded success. Like, you and I discovered over the weekend that we have very similar morning routines. And then it was like, there was like little things in your routine I liked that I'm like, man, I kind of need to take that. And I think you like my journaling that I did, that you thought that was cool. But it's like, Will wakes out of bed and starts speaking Spanish every morning. First thing he does, like his little alarm goes silent, and then you start hearing Spanish going on. And I like I said, I just thought that was a pretty cool thing to learn about my partner. That he told me at the beginning of the year he was trying to master that. But like I said, just seeing that, and like I said, just being around him motivated me, because that makes me like, damn, well, if he's doing all that, I need to make sure I'm doing my shit too. So that way I'm still a value to the relationship. But I think we saw that even bigger with the rest of the group as well. Like, I mean, just being in a room with so many successful people, that were just going to the event, not even necessarily the speakers, but just fellow people around you, I mean, that was
like our seatmates, the people we had assigned seats, like, for the event, and the people directly next to us actually were able to present on stage just for a little bit because they owned a hair extension company,
like one of the biggest,
but which happened to be one of the largest in the domestic US. And it was really cool. They brought their whole team of maybe like 15 people that worked on the business, and then we were curious on what kind of numbers they were doing, but we weren't going to ask. But then they presented that, and it was something that they actually mentioned. I think they're on target to do 10 million or something like that, something that they really enjoyed. And so it was just cool finding a passion or something that you're really interested in, and then being surrounded by, really successful people who are still interested in continuing to learn.
Well, one of the things they talk about a lot in Grant's organization is like your belief lid being raised as far as like what you think is possible. And I mean, I think that's one of the great things about GrowthCon and other events like that, is you get to see the uber successful people and what they do, and just realize like, whoa, what I thought was possible is just the beginning. Like I think I told you about, I pointed out the guy there that owned the 300 plus gyms. Like, that was the year, the 3 years ago, whenever I first saw that guy there, that was like when my belief lid was raised on like what was possible as like, just a small business owner. That how you could, string a bunch of them together and create $1 billion, company. So,
yeah. Well, let's hop right in. I mean, we're just, touching on some cool points here, but As we went through, kind of what today we're going to do is we're going to go through our speaker lineup. And it started off with Jared Glant, who's the president of 10X and Grant Cardone Enterprises. Something that was really cool is he was just kind of talking about, we always hear about law of attraction, but he's kind of taken that concept and he wants people to understand it's actually law of action. That one, we might go a little bit long today because we have like a whole bunch of notes, like a whole notebook full of things, but that one really kind of stuck out to me. I highlighted it because
I like that. I've heard him say that, but I like that you brought that up because like I think that's so true. Because I believe in the law of attraction, but I also believe you have to be taking the actions for the attraction to find you.
Totally. And I don't know about you guys in your business, but a big hindrance to me as I've grown through this past decade, especially as I kind of take some time to, benchmark where I've been and things like that, is there's a lot of times where we hear this. And I know, especially right when you're listening to Bigger Pockets or other kind of things, is like the analysis paralysis, like you're overanalyzing things and to a point to where you're just not doing anything. And next thing you know, it's 2024, then it's 2025, then it's 2026, and you're still kind of in that same rut, if it was a rut, or that same situation without kind of being able to grow. So that one really kind of stuck out to me as the law of action. And some kind of things, especially if you go back a couple episodes, is we've been kind of jumping in things, and I think we had an episode talking about pivoting. And sometimes of course you want to run all your numbers and things like that, but you want to get in there, do things, and then as long as you're open to ideas, you're going to have options and routes that you can take. But it's all about those actionable items, because if you're just going to wait, you're going to let a whole bunch of deals pass by. So some other cool things I wrote down were manifest and how to become a good manager and a super manager. And by manifesting things, you can continue. There's a lot of highlighting with that. And so he kind of he was breaking down the idea of how to get your business rolling. First comes with an idea. Then you have to draw attention to that idea. And then once you're drawing enough attention, you're generating leads. Now, once you have leads and people interested in what you're selling, what you're doing, or what service you're providing, you need to understand how to manage your sales. And then you need to connect and convert leads. So once you understand your sales process and what it kind of looks like, you need to then be able to understand how to convert the leads to actually make money. So you're going to nurture those leads. Once you kind of understand those 6 steps, it's all about scaling. So those are some pretty good points that I wrote down. But the next speaker that we're going to kind of go into, who is like right into the entry point, first speaker of the weekend, was Tucker Carlson. What do you think about him?
Well, dude, he was great. And one thing I just want to add about Jared Glant that I just think is really cool, just because like you and me are very much entrepreneur, trying to always start our own thing. And Jared Glant is just a great example of an intrapreneur, someone who went inside Grant's organization and, and rose to the occasion there, maximizing his, efforts and work, to become president of Cardone Enterprises and basically run the day-to-day operations. So it's cool. It's cool to see someone who became a multimillionaire inside an organization. Just showcasing there's another path to get there. It doesn't always have to be through entrepreneurship, even though in real estate that's a lot we push. But on to Tucker Carlson, dude, he was awesome.
He was awesome. He was not what I was expecting. A lot of energy, to say the least.
I wrote down like four kind of big points I got from Tucker. My takeaways. One is, if the same thing keeps happening to you, it's your fault. And one great thing, what he was talking about when he said that was, when he was getting fired, he got fired, I think, from every job he's had pretty much. but he took ownership. It's like, it's because, of, things that he just wasn't agreeing with, wasn't doing. So he knew that it was his fault. But also he says, know yourself, but don't be the center of your world, which, I thought that was something, pretty important.
What's interesting is I wrote that down right here.
Yeah.
Confront your faults, know yourself, and to truly know yourself, know what you are good at, but more importantly, know what you're bad at, and understand your risk levels of good and bad decisions. So it's funny that you wrote that down too.
Yeah. No, and then I think that's a good one, because like I said, you really do have to know yourself, but also, like I said, you don't want to be the center. But then also, one thing he said was to be strong. You have to rid yourself of any and all deception, and I really like that. I think we've talked on previous episodes, how important integrity is, to me and everything that we do. So, I'm kind of one of those people where I'd rather just speak the harsh reality versus like, sugarcoating something, that sounds good, like I, got to deal with the facts, whether it's comfortable or not.
Definitely.
Then the biggest one though, is that everyone dies. The worst thing that can happen to you is that you waste your life.
Oh my gosh, dude, highlighted right here. Main risk in life is living a meaningless life.
Right. Same takeaway.
That was like insane. What's gonna be funny actually is we're going through this live, guys, and Sam and I didn't go over each other's notes, so I'm kind of laughing that we picked up the same things.
Yeah, we didn't talk about, like, we sat next to each other and we're both writing stuff down, but we didn't talk about what we were writing down at all, unless we were like, hey, what'd they just say? If we were taking something, but
so this is actually going to be pretty fun.
We didn't pre-talk about what we were going to say about each speaker. So, like I said,
this is going to be pretty fun going back and forth, kind of seeing how our brains and what we were picking up. Because, like I said, that this is two big takeaways just from this one speaker that we both like highlighted and put scratch.
Yeah.
Put on our scratch.
And dude, that's very true. Because like it's a fact that we're all gonna die one day. But how are we going to live our lives, now till that day happens, and that's what really counts, because that's your impacts you make on the world, and what you leave behind is, what you do, what you have this time here on earth. And so, like I said, I thought that was a real great quote. But then the next speaker didn't disappoint at all. One of the most world-renowned, speakers on leadership and life coach, John Maxwell. What'd you think of John Maxwell?
Amazing. Pyramid of success, right? Like, how do you set yourself apart? I think was one of like the most critical parts of his speech. He was giving all of the, he was just a wealth of knowledge, right? Like that's what he's done for 50 years is just helping people grow. But something that I really took away is, how do you get out of the people pile? He kept
I was about to say that when you as soon as you said separating yourself out, from other people, I immediately thought of his people pile example when he's like was holding arms and limbs out.
Arms, legs, He's like, how do I get? I'm out of the people pile. He gave this like this story about where his mentor. He finally had a chance to talk, and it was pretty much just a little bit longer than an elevator pitch, but he had like 5 pages of questions. And so he went in and he's like, the gentleman, his mentor, asked, do you have any questions for me? He's like, boy, do I. And he had like this list of questions, and it piqued his mentor at the time's interest and said, no one's ever had all of this prepared. He's like, is this all for me? And long story short, he got out of the people pile because he invited him to a lunch later on so they could go over the questions. That lunch ended up lasting longer than the allotted time because there was more questions. So then he invited him to dinner, and the next thing and the next thing. And it was kind of cool, really cool story. He talks a lot about the pyramid of success, but really, like, I loved, how do you set yourself apart and getting out of the people pile? that was a great takeaway for me. What else did you have, Sam?
It was huge. And also when he was talking about his questions, like one question, I've actually already used this at a lunch since I've been back, was that whenever he has, lunch with, someone, he's networking with, one of his questions is, who do you know that I should know?
Right.
And I just thought, dude, that's just such a beautiful, easy connecting line, because it's like, like, for example, I own Clean Eats. And so so that way you already know that if you ever hear anyone that's, talking about needing to lose weight or needing, more time and doesn't have time to cook, like your immediate thought is like, you should talk to my buddy Sam, it's like, because that, about me. So it's kind of cool that if you meet someone for lunch and, you guys talking and learning about each other's interests and goals, and you say, well, hey, who do you know that I should know? They might know someone that can help you reach your goal. If your goals are out there and you've been clear and communicated with people around you about what you're trying to do, asking them, who do you know, should I know? They might, like I said, know that person. Like, well, so it just so happens that my girlfriend's father is, this guy, and he does it. Like, those kind of things can, just happen just by asking the right questions. So that was a really good one. I actually have Go ahead.
I think you brought up a good topic, like letting people know what you're doing, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times, like as people are getting into this business or, just getting into a new business, maybe taking a new entrepreneurial role or things like that, or sales role, they might be working for something else. A lot of times people feel a little reserved in telling people what they do, which is like totally normal feeling, but to kind of catapult you into the direction that you might envision, you have to let people know just for this simple that simple connection point that John Maxwell is saying is like being able to use your network and letting people know what they do or what your goals are. There's other people that also had similar, dreams and ideas, and so let them help you. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel.
If people don't know how they can help you, they can't.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
If they don't know the help you want, they can't help you.
Totally.
So yes, no, I definitely agree. I actually have one of my lines are get yourself out of the people pile. So you already nailed that one. Another big one, I think this is really important, is pick the right person to learn from. I think especially in today, especially in the world of Instagram, there's a million experts on every topic between Instagram, YouTube. There's someone who's claiming they know everything. And some of those people do. Some of those people really do know a lot about what they're talking about. Like, like Grant Cardone, he knows about sales. He knows about real estate. Pace Morby, he knows about sub-2 real estate deals. I mean, there's lots of guys that are really the experts they say they are. But there's also the guy who's just, read something, never did something, and trying to tell you how to do it, and he's talking to you like he's an expert, knows all the facts. And that guy's not who you want to learn from. And so just make sure you really know the person you're learning from, and make sure that whatever they're teaching, that you want to be what they're teaching you. So, don't try to learn from someone whose life you don't want to live, in that thing. So that's just kind of one of the things. And then the one of the biggest things I got from John Maxwell is what we accomplish in life is not based on what we want. It's how bad we want it. And I thought that's another really, it's another solid. It's 100% true. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be all these things. But if I'm not doing daily steps every day, to do that, or if it's like I want to lose 20 pounds, but I eat a bunch of pizza and cookies this weekend, I'm not taking the actionable steps, and so it's not about how bad I wish it. It's about how bad I'm willing to, do what it takes to accomplish it.
Right. And every day, I know so many people, refer back to it, but it's just the truth is like, if you can be, 0.1% better than you were yesterday, everything you did, you don't have to be 1% better. You don't have to be 10% better.
Right.
But small wins. And then, within a month, you go from here to here. And then now you have a new level or idea of what your goal or success might be. And then you're just like, okay, I did everything like this last month or this last week or just yesterday. and I'm going to have to maximize what I did there and just do a little bit more. And next thing you know, those small wins, they look big. That's why I have this huge calendar actually, because
Dude, I love your big ass calendar.
yeah, because I was listening to a podcast and I was like, if you can just write things down and get where you want to be and find time so that you can maintain where you're at and then do everything you did yesterday a little bit better the next day, and you keep doing that, after 1 year, you'll have a whole new life skill. After 10 years, you'll have 10 really cool new life skills that you do year over year. And then it's like after 20 years, oh, you've got, it might take a year to master something or to get pretty good at it, but now you've done that 20 times over, you're really good at a lot of things, so it's
exactly.
So
yeah, no, 100%. And so, but after, and actually, I think what you just talking about, a lot of that was said by Jesse. What's his name? Last name? How do you say it? Litzer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, he's the one. But he was actually at this GrowthCon too as a judge for that speak off.
He was, yeah.
He's spoken at previous ones as
Jesse Itzler, really, really cool guy. He's I was listening to a podcast with him and Dave Asprey actually, and it kind of got me all fired up, and yeah, awesome stuff. But yeah,
next we have Tyler Perry.
What about Brandon?
Brandon also. Okay. Yeah. So I since I've been to those GrowthCon events, I didn't highlight as many of the GrowthCon or the 10X employees because I've heard that. But let's talk about Brandon Dawson. I think of him as a business scientist. Those breakpoints he talks about are crazy. What do you think?
Yeah, great talking about breakpoints, which again is kind of more of a sales package that they're coming out with. So you can find out more information on that. But like his actual opening topic, I highlighted be an owl. He kept reiterating that be an owl, how to expedite like your 10X growth journey. And it's just by saying who, constantly asking who, be the owl. So I wrote down quite a number of them. It's like, who's doing it right? Who's an example? Who is willing to show me? Who's worthy of my time? And who can I follow? Who can I trust? Who can help me? Who has the track record and the stats? Who's willing to develop me? Who is responsible? Who can I model after? And in all caps, who is winning at whatever I want to do? I really liked that. Be an owl. And then he talks about, again, the law of attraction with the law of action, having an intention, taking that intention and idea, moving it into action, and then attracting others who are doing similar things and kind of building off of that. A lot of things he does is, buys businesses, right? But because he has really great business systems. So when he attracts a whole bunch of interested companies, a lot of times he might purchase them, which is just, I don't know. I took a lot of those away. And something else that I had down here is you have to have the courage to make big decisions and believe in yourself to acquire the action that you want. So like some really cool stuff. And you were getting at another point, but I really liked Be an Owl, and I wrote a whole bunch of notes on that. So
no, that's good. So one of my favorite things about Brandon Dawson is his business breakpoints, where he talks about there's 7 breakpoints to go from $1 million a year company to $100 million a year company.
Mm-hmm.
He's just, if anyone has ever been in business and seen this scale right now, it just couldn't be more true, especially like for myself. I've made it, I like my restaurant business, does a little over 4 million, does just under, right around 4 million a year in total. And those, I've saw the struggles of like where I'm at right now, like trying to go from breakpoint 2 to breakpoint 3. I kind of realized like when I did another 10X course, with him, how I kind of grew a little quick because I went from 2 to 4 stores in 1 year. And by me doing that, I had realized some of the systems I had failed to put in place. So I was able to go back and do them. And, we're systematically, doing it now. And that's what happens in businesses a lot of times is, you grow to a stress point, you either solve the problem or you break. And well, luckily for me, I got involved with them early enough where we were able to, solve a lot of my problems. But his breakpoint topics is 100% spot on. And I definitely recommend, people, checking that out because it's very fascinating. And this is a guy who has built several companies, to, $1 billion valuation. So it's you're really cool to see.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. So I know we just kind of gave a sneak peek a second ago, but our next guest that was there was Tyler Perry. And
right.
Man, that guy's incredible. Intellect through the roof, the way he presents himself, amazing, cool, calm, collected. Just the way he speaks, acts, it was really great to see him in person.
I know my mom was definitely jealous because like she loves all the Madea movies. So we watched a bunch of those together. So I mean he's definitely a great person, and what he's done for his community is just amazing on all the things he's done to give back.
Yeah, no, and to hear a story of like struggling and being homeless for 2 years and trying to, but he believed in this, product for 7 years, but just, kept getting knocked down and knocked down and knocked down. And I had a lot of takeaways from him, but it gave me not only, I already respected him, but just a new level, but something that he really highlighted on was ownership, which is something that I think we've had a couple episodes on. And that was a big reason. I mean, he's a billionaire now, which is kind of crazy. He owns, was it the second largest studio in the entire US, which is probably the largest studios in the world. He's really the forefront of why Hollywood is now moving to Georgia and all the incentives. He was like, at the forefront with the governor, the mayor of Atlanta, to like bring entertainment to the East Coast outside of New York. Just a whole bunch of really cool things, business savviness through the roof. But I felt as he was presenting and talking, just a huge genuine side of him. I don't know what you thought, Sam, but it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
He definitely seemed very authentic. Like the one thing that I thought was really cool about getting to see Tyler Perry is I was actually you and I talked about this, about some of these guests. It was kind of like, when would we get to see him again? Like he doesn't go, and he's not a big speaker and doesn't do a lot of big public speaking interviews and stuff like that. So that was a really cool, just the opportunity. But yeah, like one of the first things he said that I thought was really good is if you have a mentality or a mindset that you can't have something, you never will. And so you have to have the mentality that you can have whatever it is you want to achieve. And then kind of something I think I wrote down towards the end is, if you do not have the capacity in your mind, you will never be able to receive it. And that kind of goes back to the law of attraction a little bit. That you have to believe it, see it, and believe it and see it to probably be able to receive it. So you got to believe it's real for yourself.
Yeah, that's something that I had written down very very close. It's adjust your mindset, get your mind around what you want, have the mentality, the grit, and the mindset of what you want, and be able to shift your mind and thoughts to what you want. He kind of said that very bold and proud, and I had to write that one down because I was like, man, that's pretty powerful, So he talked a lot about mindset and focusing on your journey. He kept reiterating that. He said, even being homeless, he knew that he had something that he believed was going to be great. This is the play of Madea. And he talked about building a community and a culture and how he could create a following, which what did he say? He had 28 or 30 films. It was something astronomical. Yeah, he owned, produced, like Andy's an actor in, like some really crazy statistics that I don't know how many other entertainers could match.
And that's I think a big reason of his success too is the fact that he was forced into financing and being his own things. But now once some things got some traction because he owned them, he got the full benefits.
Right.
So
Yeah, totally. And then
kind of like a positive, a negative turn to a positive. Like because like he had to do all that stuff before, but now, like I said, he gets the full benefits of the ownership.
yeah, and he was like, I think something that was cool was he was talking about be one of one. You have to be original. Create your lane if it doesn't exist. I thought that was, and he said, but most importantly,
my only competition is myself. That
Yeah.
was like, so that goes along with what you just said. Yeah, that's one of the other things I got. And being your truth.
Be your truth. Yeah, dude. I was about to say, dude, literally right there. That was my next point. Be in your truth. I love it.
Yeah.
And something else, like I said, he talked a lot about mindset and believing in yourself, but he says you have to allow your mind to leave the capacity that it's currently in to accept and understand that you do deserve success and growth. And so he kind of reiterated in these points. He said, you deserve success. You deserve money. You deserve what you want, because he was talking about early in his career when he first actually made money. He didn't think he deserved the money. So what he did is he would give it to friends and family, and he ended up making a ton of money. I think he said he was worth a couple million, and then he went back to broke. It was something similar to that, because he felt that he didn't deserve the money that he was getting, because he had this idea that it was great. But then when it happened, he just wanted to, he was taking care of his friends and family, but he kept going back to zero. And he had to change his mindset. And he said, like, kind of in closing, find someone who will always help you keep dreaming, keep getting bigger than what you could ever imagine. And he kind of gave a shout out to having, GrowthCon in itself, and being able to find mentors and things like that'll keep you from keeping yourself in a box and feeling like you've hit a ceiling, because there's always the next step.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's good, man. Look, one thing I'm coming to the realization, just kind of want to see where we're on our speaker list and what our time is I think we're going to have to do this as a part 1 and part 2.
Definitely. I was about to say the same thing.
I want to make sure we can kind of let our viewers have a break point in this so they can come back to it. But what do you want to? I know our next guest was the great Iron Mike Tyson. Do you want to end on him, or do you want to end on the next guy on this one, and then we'll pick up with a part 2?
I think we rip it with Big Mike right here, and we kind of wrap it up, because we'll shift. That'll kind of shift us perfectly into
more finance,
the real estate moguls, absolute the Don. No pun intended there. If you don't know who the speaker was, but he is big time, and a small project that he's doing is creating the tallest skyscraper in the Western Hemisphere, taller than the Empire State Building, World Trade Center. It's going to be absolutely insane.
80% minority and women owned as well.
Yeah. And the first large industrial contract company completely owned, woman owned, that's going to be constructing a building of this magnitude. So a ton of big wins that he kind of set up that just kept, building on each other. But we'll save that for the next episode. But in closing to this one, let's talk about Big Mike, dude. Mike Tyson was so sick to watch. That was so cool. He's the man.
So, one thing I'll just go ahead and say, that like from the beginning, like one of the first things I wrote down, which I think if you look at Mike, you can tell he like lived this way. And that was one of the things I really liked about Mike Tyson, is just his authenticity. Like the guy means everything he says. Like he was the only speaker out of my 3 years going to GrowthCon, and I know you only saw this time, but I'm sure you can agree just based on this time, he was the only speaker that put Grant on his toes a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
When he would what's it mean to you? And it's just like he just has. It's just cool to see, like I said, a guy who I truly believe he has a good heart just from hearing him talk, and I think he really means well. And then to like, just see, but I also think he doesn't fear much. So it's like to see this guy who really, really, like I said, has a good heart, but then he's not afraid to like, say, because like say doesn't fear anybody. But one of the things that he said was, I would rather have a few years of glory instead of a lifetime of obscurity.
Dude,
And
I wrote the same thing. Yeah,
yeah,
I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
that was a bar. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I would rather, die young, doing what he loved, helping the people, making an impact, than living a full life, until he's 90, 100 years old.
Which, like I said, not saying is good or bad, just stating as an observation. Like if you watch like Mike's first fortune come and go, you kind of see how he lived that way. I mean, just like in that, like he lived a badass life. Like like I said, he might not be at where his peak was financially, but he got to live and experience some stuff. I mean, I don't know about you, Will, but I've never had a pet tiger. So
I've also never had a tattoo. So
yeah. So I mean, I think, like I said, that's cool. And then something else he said, which I thought was interesting, especially if you know his story, is I can handle my enemies, save me from my family and friends.
Yeah,
and I thought, man, that's pretty interesting, because I think what he was talking about there is like, when you start becoming successful, reaching those higher levels, you start getting a lot of, hands out in your direction. And it's your enemy's not going to ask you, but the people that are the hands out is going to be your family and friends. And I'm not saying he was saying not to help them or anything like that, but he was definitely saying that that's what you have to be on the lookout for, as far as when you're on your success ladder. And then everyone who helps you is not your friend, and everyone you fight is not your enemy. And that's something he said on stage, but I also think that's one of his longtime quotes. And I definitely, can see how that's true in life, and stuff. Is that not everyone you have a fight with is your enemy.
Yeah, no, I totally. It was pretty sweet. I enjoyed every second, and like Sam mentioned earlier, he not only is he feisty in the ring, but he was feisty just in an interview. He was keeping Grant on his toes, throwing questions back at him that I don't think Grant was really ready. So the way this one was kind of set is it was just interview back and forth, 2 chairs. Grant Cardone interviewing Mike Tyson, and it was just awesome. I think something else that was really powerful is not allowing certain moments to define your whole existence. Yeah, because Grant was picking on him and saying like, so what do you do, when you bite someone's ear off? And he was like, well, I'm just in the ring. It was what was happening. It was something I was in the moment, and I couldn't let that moment define who Mike Tyson actually was. But then he said, well, what happened when it happened the second time? He's like, oh, that. But anyway, man, it was really cool watching Mike like in person, and he's just a really motivating kind of guy. And you could also see that, like, again, how genuine he was when he was talking about his story, his upbringing. He was really open about his
Childhood
was
rough.
Oh man.
I mean, that's just being nice about it. I mean, it's just sad, like some of the things that he had to see and experience.
Yeah. It's hard even to like kind of retell that story. If you don't know about it, you might want to look up. It's not really a place for Sam and I to kind of do open topic discussion. But all I was saying is like it was really kind of heartfelt to see where he was. He had the right mentor, right? He had the right mentor who ended up adopting him when he was 16. And just kept saying, look, you're going to be a world number 1, and you're going to be the best fighter in history. You're going to be the best boxer to ever walk this earth. And just kept believing that dream. And he talked later on, just 2 years later, when Mike Tyson was training for the Olympics, I think. he passed away, but the last thing he was saying, and Mike Tyson was saying that he was about to drop boxing altogether because of this loss of his mentor. And he just said, that's the only thing you can't do. You are meant to be the best, and you have it, and you need to be able to kind of shed this light and utilize that in what's inside of you. And something that Mike kept saying is, he was like, it wasn't supposed to be any other way. He kept saying that, you know, he kept saying, this is what was supposed to happen. All of these things that happened were supposed to be this way. He just had to have the right mentor and guide to get him there, you know? So like, that was like, to me, the biggest takeaway, which is kind of synonymous through all the speakers, is like, you have to follow the right steps, have the right people in place to push you. And kind of what we were just talking about, you can't stay in a box. This guy kept telling him, even on his deathbed, you are the best, and you have to keep chasing that dream and believing in yourself, you know, kind of like Tyler Perry was saying, is like, and every speaker that we've really talked about so far, is surround yourself with those people that are going to continue to push you up, you know? So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I think the last thing he said that definitely rang home with me, because you know my own weight loss story. So I'm big on any kind of health related thing, but he said health is your first wealth.
Oh, health is wealth. Yeah, he did say that.
You know, that is, you know, and I totally agree. You know, for one, it's cool because like you're seeing, you know, Mike, he's almost 60, you know, still in fighting shape. You know, he's about to hopefully beat Logan Paul's ass. So, you know, so like I said, it's cool to see something like that, you know, and remind you that you really need to be focused on your health, because like, you know, what's good having all the money in the world if, you know, you're, you know, too unhealthy, or, you know, to, you know, go and, you know, enjoy life and, you know, have new experiences. Like it does no good to have wealth without health. So it's definitely something I took away and I believe, but man, I think that's a kind of a good you know, stopping point to kind of wrap us up on this episode, and like I said, come back in with a part 2 where we'll start things off with Mr. Don Peebles.
Dude, might be 3. Like, looking at this lineup, I'm just like, holy cow, how do we even stop?
As we started going, man, we just realized, like, wow, you know, we probably should have had a talk about this, because like I think I'm re-getting stuff out of it. You know, just talking it over with you, you know, hearing some of the things that meant something to you, and then vice versa. Totally. We'll go ahead and end everything here now. So we'll make sure our next episode, just because we want to keep the 10X episode, episode 10, and we don't want to drag this on to 11. We'll just call this a 10A and then a 10B. So
part 1, part 2. You know what it is.
Part 1, part 2. Yeah. So because
might lead to a part 3. Who knows?
Exactly. So come back next week and catch us back up with part 2, and we'll see you guys here.
Yeah. Thanks again to Clean Eats for letting this happen. And then Sam, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on my Instagram at Sam_FloridaMan. Make sure you give me a follow and shoot me any kind of deals you're looking at, you might want a second set of eyes on, or if you're looking for a partner, either with as an investor or bring my knowledge in. However I can help, please let me know. And then Will, how can they find you?
Yeah, same thing. You can check out our you can check out our website below. We're going to link a whole bunch of things. We're going to tag a whole bunch of cool people that we met from the conference, but also Elite, REIFL. So just like this podcast, WMCCLELLAND. So it's just my last name. We'll have everything tagged in the show notes. Yeah, exactly. So again, if you guys have any deals or anything, or if you just want to talk about or hear a little bit more in depth about a certain speaker or whatever, really stoked to do this next part 2. So see ya. Stay tuned.
Yeah, see you next week.